What is up, guys? We are back today. We had another day of beautiful, beautiful football. But the only difference from today compared to yesterday was that we had nothing but ties. We have 4 games today, and they all ended in ties, guys. That was unfortunate to see. Whenever you go from a day where we have two goleadas going straight to to 4 games that are just ties. That's crazy. But I think that we still have a lot of interesting things to talk about, regardless of the fact that they were all ties. Um, just based on what happened, especially if we want to talk about what happened against that in that Spain match versus Cape Verde. But first, before we start off with the World Cup, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the rumors and things that are going on throughout the day. So as of today, it was official, or last night, or whenever you're watching this video, that Real Madrid have officially signed Marco Corella. They have signed him for 6 years. Um, I think that there was a lot of ironic things that went on with this, especially because Cucurella, he did want to go back to Spain. He was ready for that, but he had his heart set for Barcelona. But what happened was that Barcelona just didn't move fast enough. As everybody knows that has had some financial issues, and I think that that's why also they were trying to sell Ferran Torres and a couple other players so they can open up that cap space. They just got Gordon, so they didn't have the funds enough to make that purchase, and that's where Real Madrid stepped in. Which, by the way, is another signing for Real Madrid that they have stolen from Barcelona. Dumfries was heavily linked with Barcelona. It was also linked that Barcelona wanted to get Konate as well, Cucurella, and oh man, I'm blanking on the other person that they just got. Yes, I'm sorry, Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva has been linked to Barcelona not just this summer, but for years. For years now. I think that he has heavily said that he wanted to be in Barcelona, but Real Madrid, in a way, right now they're playing chess, not checkers. They're just doing this to just play with. I think Fiorentino's in his bag right now. Unfortunately, to all the Barcelona fans, does this make this team treble contenders? I mean, we just came from a season with no trophies, probably one of the worst campaigns that Real Madrid has ever had. That being said, though, I'm not sure if it will or not. I think that there's something still in the attack and midfield that does need to be addressed. I mean, Bernardo Silva does help in the midfield, but a 31-year-old player, we don't know how long the longevity he has for this team. That being said, though, going back into the conversation about just Cucurella, we have, as mentioned, we have officially announced the signing, and Real Madrid have signed him for 55 million plus a 5 mil in add-ons. Okay, continuing on, Ismail Sebari, which if you guys watched the Morocco versus Brazil game, he's actually the one that scored the goal. It looks like he will be the next player to join Bayern Munich. Okay, and it looks like Bayern Munich will be buying him for 55 million. Okay. And then in another news, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen it, after the 5-1 loss yesterday that Tunisia suffered to Sweden, it appears that the federation has decided to fire their coach in the first game of the World Cup. That is unheard of. I know that it was a bad loss, but I think that first and foremost, to me, that's a bad look. You guys hired him five matches ago, and you had, I think it was 2 ties, 2 losses, and 1 win. So why now? Why, I get it. I know it was a big loss, but you already started the competition. Who are you going to bring in now? Unless what you're going to use the assistant coach as part of his coaching staff. I didn't see that coming at all, unfortunately for Sabri Lamauchi. But the competition continues. But yeah, those are the quick little things to talk about before we hit the matches today. So the first match that we had, which was at noon, was Spain versus Cabo Verde. And this match, this match was life changing for a specific individual. Okay, Cabo Verde were able to hold off the team that many analysts, Chat GPT, any sort of AI will say will win this competition. Okay, and it's all due to a certain individual, Bazinha. Okay, he's a 40-year-old goalie. He plays in the second division of Portugal, and he today was the MVP. Okay, I would definitely say that this has to be considered the biggest moment in his career, and you felt it whenever the match finished. He was in tears because he kept the clean sheet against the powerful Spain, the World Cup winning Spain, okay, the Euro champion Spain, and they were not able to get. I think he saved like 8 or 9 shots from them, and that was crucial for that. I think he is definitely rightly reserve, deserved to be the player of the match, and he did win that award. If you guys saw, another fun fact about him is that he is actually, um, based on analytics, he's actually worth $40,000. I think that the whole squad of Spain itself was, I think it's like 1.22 million. That doesn't sound right. Billion? I don't know. But yeah. Another fun fact, and I just read this a little bit ago. The defender Roberto Lopez for Cabo Verde, he's actually a mortgage advisor. Apparently he played soccer as like a part-timer, and he saw a post on LinkedIn, and he wasn't sure if he was going to actually, he thought it was a scam, but he ended up, messaging the post, and now he's here playing for the World Cup. That's mind blowing. Okay, I can only imagine if I just saw a post and I applied to it, and now I'm playing in the World Cup. That is crazy. But yes, I think that was an awesome game to watch, especially for all my Cabo Verde fans. It was incredible to watch. I think that Vazinia's Instagram, I think, tripled in followers, even more probably. I think he only had like 40,000 followers, and now he has over 2 million, maybe going even higher from the last time that I saw. Following up, we have Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. I knew that Saudi Arabia had some, good attack. We saw it in the last World Cup whenever they beat Argentina, which was the only loss that Argentina suffered in the tournament. But I didn't expect them to come off and just scored the first goal against Uruguay. Uruguay in South America has always been a lethal team. Mind you, we're talking about a Uruguay without a Luis Suarez, without a Edison Cavani, but they still have some key players like Valverde or oh man, I'm blanking on the striker. But I think that it's still surprising to me. Saudi Arabia scored the first goal in the 41st minute, okay? But after they went on halftime, you could tell the Uruguay came back with a mentality that, hey, we are better than this. Why are we not showing it? And they pushed and they fought all the way to the very end, okay? It was until, I think it was the 80th minute, right, that Araujo tied up the game, but they also had a very close opportunity right there towards the last as well. But with that being said, with a 1-1 tie, every single team in Group H right now is tied for first place. And that's a crazy thing to think about, because technically, of course, Saudi Arabia and Uruguay are above because they both scored 1 goal, and Spain and Cabo Verde did not. But if we don't look at the goal stats, everybody's tied for first place. So this is a position that could really go anywhere. Okay. Now after that, we had Belgium versus Egypt, which to me, guys, honestly was one of the matches that you would think that Belgium was going to win. I mean, just looking at the stacked team, that's what you thought. But Egypt came and they gave them the fight of their lives. They started off the game with their goal, and really at that point, Belgium had to to just fight to save a point. Okay. Iman Shaor scored the first goal. And in the second half, whenever Romelu Lukaku came in, it only took him 23 seconds to be part of the goal. Now, everybody thought it was the goal. I thought he scored the goal, but it turns out that VAR took a look at it, and it was actually called an own goal, which is unfortunate. I would have loved for Lukaku to get his World Cup goal, but we know with the technology in this World Cup, there's really nothing else that we can say or do about that. But Belgium are able to save a point and instead of going pointless. And I'm definitely excited to see what else Egypt will bring to the table. I didn't really have them as a team that was going to make it in the top two, but the way that they played today shows a lot. Now, that being said, going into the last game with the other two teams that are in this group, wow. I want to say that Iran versus New Zealand was the match that I said I'm not gonna watch this. Probably gonna be boring. I was wrong, and I'm glad that I sat down and I watched it, because this has to have been the most exciting match of today. A 2-2 tie, but the both offenses were fast. They were creative. They were exciting, and to me, I was asking myself is it really that the offense is spectacular, or do both teams just have a mediocre defense? But no, they both went in there and they both did amazing. The last time that I saw New Zealand play was actually whenever they played against Peru, which was like close to like 8 years ago. Okay, so I didn't really like the way that they played, but today they showed a lot of creativity. But in mirror to that, Iran, that was the fast offense. They had great plays, and I think that one of the things that I give Iran as well is that they had the heart to continue in fighting. They searched for it. They were not, usually whenever you get scored on, it's almost like you see the team deflate, right? But whenever they got scored on, it just fired them up to keep going, guys. And that's the type of stuff that I love to see. That's the type of stuff that this competition is all about. The World Cup always brings you the underdogs, and whenever you watch a game like that, oh man, it's the type of things that just stick with you. And I think that that's why I love the World Cup, because even if I'm from Peru, and even if my country is not in the World Cup, I love watching it, because every single game there's something special that happens, right? I mean, Egypt, they scored a banger of a goal, right? Uruguay, they tied it up after fighting tooth and nail. Do we even need to talk about Cabo Verde again? No, guys, we have a lot of things to talk about further than that, but tomorrow we also do have a jam-packed schedule. Once again, guys, I don't have it in front of me, so what I will be using is my Panini book. It's hilarious that I'm actually using this to figure out what's going on tomorrow. Look, with all these teams, there's a lot to keep up with, and y'all know that. All right, so oh no, my pages are stuck. All right, where were we? Yes, so tomorrow is the debut of France. They're gonna go against Senegal, playing in New Jersey, New York, whatever. It's New Jersey, guys. Come on, it's across the bridge. Let's say that's New Jersey. Regardless, we have Iraq versus Norway playing in Boston. Algeria versus Argentina is the debut of Argentina. They're going to be playing in Kansas City. And then, of course, we have Austria versus Jordan. Now, from these 4 games listed, it's obvious which are the 2 that are going to be the most watched. Okay, everybody's ready for the debut of Lionel Messi in this competition in Argentina. And then, of course, we have France, a France that is stacked. We have, of course, you can never talk about France without talking about Kylian Mbappe, potential Ballon d'Or winner 2 in a row, Ousmane Dembele. And how can we also not talk about the player that has been the most outstanding player in offense this season, Olise. Olise has been a beast Okay, so I think that that's the match that I'm definitely more excited to watch. There's a lot that is going to happen, and we know we're here for it. Shouts out to shouts out to all the players right now that have been having to deal with the weather. I know that there's been some teams in Kansas City around that area that had a tornado warning, I think. Oh man, I would hate to have that be my first, or if not my first, but one of my only experiences in a World Cup. I mean, it was to happen. There's only so much you can do. I'm local here to Charlotte. It hasn't really been a bad weather, but I will say that the heat is very unbearable. So I can only imagine what it's like for Scotland that is over there practicing in Charlotte. I know that Norway is in Greensboro or Winston-Salem. It's between Norway, I believe, is in Greensboro, and Germany is in Winston-Salem, or vice versa, one of those. But this heat is unbearable, and I can only imagine what it's like for these matches that are happening in either Miami, or I think there's definitely been like two that have been happening in Texas. Oh man. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Unfortunately, I'm not going to any games, but I'm here to keep watching, keep following along with y'all. So thank you again for joining me tonight. Of course, tomorrow I'm gonna follow up. Unfortunately, I'm just doing one video per day, but we're excited to see what happens after. Of course, I will be keeping up to date with all the scores. If you had a chance, you can follow me on Instagram. It's the same name as my channel, which is Just Football 9. So yeah, if you guys have the opportunity, go ahead and go follow me over there. And if you're here right now, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscription, leave a comment if you would like. I think that I would really appreciate that. I know I've had a couple of viewers, but please take a moment. I'm excited to come here at the end of the day and just talk about football. Yeah, guys, thank you so much if you're here listening to me, and bye.